Craig and I have decided to go ahead and replace the trunk pan here in the 67 Camaro. If you can see these lines here, this is fiberglass patching all the way through, and you can see the pitting and some holes and stuff throughout all of it. And just weird, poor repair jobs. You can see how pitted and all this stuff is they've covered up. So we're gonna try not to get too deep. We bought a whole pan that goes all the way into here and all the way up in there, but we're gonna try and keep it, I think, just inside this edge right here, so that we're keeping as much original sheet metal as possible. Craig,
yes,
it was his idea, so I want to get this on record. Turn around. So what are we gonna do next?
Take off the shiny bits.
Yeah, which is called what?
Stripping it down.
Stripping it down with what?
Sander.
Sander, which is?
Just got a sander.
Your favorite. His idea. So when he gives the camera dirty looks later, this was his plan.
You gotta do what you gotta do.
You gotta do what you gotta do. I agree with him.
Well,
So
it's not humongous. It is a Camaro. And
yeah, well, it is a quarter of a fifth, a tenth of what had to happen over here, and it's still yet to happen.
And not 9,000 layers of
Everything. Yeah, this all sanded off in just seconds down here, so no big deal. But anyways, just wanted to get that on record. Craig actually voted for sanding.
I voted for sanding.
All right.
Look at both.
Also, while I'm down in here in the trunk, one of the things that we are going to discuss and look at once I get this trunk pan out is actually putting the shock relocation set up that moves the shocks from basically just at the edge or inside of the inner fender or wheel well to just inside the frame, somewhere along in here. Brings it a couple of inches inboard of the rear subframe connector subframes, and just gives you a little bit better handling, a little more control over how everything happens in the back, especially under load and all that kind of stuff. So most everybody does it. I don't see a reason not to. The kit's like 150 bucks, but it's just a piece of 2x2 steel with 2 tabs for the upper mounts for the shocks. So I'm probably just going to fabricate it out of, I don't know, tons of spare steel that we've got laying around here in the shop. So that's probably what's going to happen. Anyways, there we go. Just going to give you a heads up. I'll bring you back when I've got all this stuff cut out so we can take a look at what's going on with the rear subframe. All right, all of the initial cutting out. The trunk is done. The 2 supports still look good, so I just got to clean and strip those. There's the chunk that came out. Like I said, I'm going to try and leave as much of this original stuff here that's still in good shape. But as you can see, this whole section I ended up having to grind out because, well, it's like, I don't know, not quite a 1/4 inch, 3/16 of an inch thick fiberglass across there. So yeah, terrible, just terrible, as George Foreman would say. It's terrible. Anyways, so that's where we're at, and it'll get trimmed off neatly. I just hit it real quick and rough with a plasma cutter without much care or thought. So we'll clean it all up once we get the other piece fitted in there and make our marks. All right, continue on. Oh, and this is where I was talking about those subframe connectors going. Looks like I've got to put one little piece of support back off that corner. Not a big deal. I can reinforce that, put it back and cut and bent down. No big deal. But the shock supports go in just in front of that bump stop, straight across, and then that relocates the shock somewhere far more convenient. And that's where they normally mount, and then they just mount right off the frame down here. This gives us a chance to inspect all this. It looks pretty good, but I'll climb through it and double check everything. What are you doing? Standing! Coming along pretty good. I got the trunk pans out and got the support braces cleaned up. Now I'm going to test fit and get all that stuff put in. See where I need to cut. And Greg will continue sanding. Back here in the back, I got the trunk pan fitted in. It fits perfectly. When I get that pushed down and welded in, that edge will roll right over. So take you around to the back, show you what I got done back here for the day. Obviously, all of this junk cut out, and the new floor pan is fitted. I dropped it, so I warped this top just a little bit, but all right, it'll push back down when I go to tack it in. But all this is super flush and fitted right on that turn. It's still on the turn, so there is still a mechanical lock. It still sits in here flush everywhere. All along here, fits in really nice and tight, just with a little downward pressure on it. The braces underneath that run here and here have been marked out underneath for me to do my spot welds for the braces that hold the gas tank strap. And yeah, I'm not going to weld this in yet because we're going to see it probably going to be easier to have my headroom there for doing the repair down here on the quarter and whatever I end up having to do on this quarter. This one may be good. I don't know. This lip, we're going to have to get this trim off. It's rusted on. So to get that done, and then of course we're going to do the relocation of the rear shocks DIY style instead of buying a kit, and we're going to put those across the back there. So this pan's not going to get welded in yet. I'm just going to take it and set it out of the way and avoid the temptation of welding it in because it fits so good. I really want to weld it. I really want to weld it, but I'm not going to. So that's done. Oh, we do need to get these out, Craig, the little
What?
sealer plates.
They're hard. We can just, if they're really bad in there, they're cheap, super cheap.
I'm super cheap, Craig.
You are.
I'm super cheaper than those are super cheap. Not really. We'll get more if we need to, but let's see if they don't come out. I'll take them out. That way they don't get destroyed, because Craig will beat them with a hammer just so we can buy new ones.
And heat up all that,
Yeah.
burn them out.
There you go. Sounds like a plan. I'll take care of it. Like I said, Craig will beat him with a hammer just so he has to buy new
If
ones.
it's fire involved, I'll do that stuff.
Fire! Fire! Just no sanding. Oh, he's got a lot of more sanding. Anyways, we'll come back to it. Show you more as we go. All right, later.